Hey guys, and welcome back for a brand new episode of the Controversies with the Truth, God, and Justice Chick podcast. This is your host, Saskia Chick, and I welcome you guys back for a brand new controversial hot topic. So today's episode will be, I believe I have not yet touched on the time. Let's give it a long introduction. I have not touched yet on this certain time in our lives that certainly changed at least one or more things. A time that has turned this world upside down. A time that I guess kind of, I want to say, sorted people out, sorted people into sheeps and lions. I think you know where I'm going with this. It's something that supposedly is returning this fall. So, what could it be? Bingo. It is, or was, and it's going to be another pandemic, scamdemic, whatever you want to call it. Of course, this will only be somewhat interesting, shall we call it, to red-pilled, awake, purebloods, as I like to call them, or I like to call us. And so have I already? I'm not sure. For some reason I feel like I've already talked about this, but I don't think I have. I think I've so-called practiced, but I have not yet touched on that. Big topic, right? Big controversy around it, about it. A big controversial topic. Where to start? I mean, let's start by supposedly it's coming back. That's what I've heard from, I think, what's his name? Alex Jones, I think. Right? That at the airport, it's pretty much gonna be a big deal again with masks and stuff. Starting mid-September or something. So gear up if you're planning on flying. Great. I was actually planning on finally seeing my family again, because I haven't seen them overseas in Germany, where I'm from, by the way, in case you're new here. I'm from Germany, and I was planning on visiting them because I haven't seen them in 5 years due to the last pandemic, and then I just haven't gotten around it, I guess, to book a trip for 5 people. And but looks like it's not gonna happen if this is really starting back up, because we don't do masks. Nope. And that's gonna be, let's see how this one goes. How many people will, I think I know people on a personal level who are, I don't want to say names, who are gearing up to make some appointments for their probably 5th booster shot, or 4th or 6th, who knows. It's just plain insanity. Wow. What has gotten into people? I mean, now we know, they're part, the luciferin, what is it called? One of the ingredients in the shot. I forgot what it's really called. But luciferin, is that a name? Something like that. Yeah, and so on and forth. Who knows what who knows what they really have inside of them. It could be anything from being like a quarter or partially robotic or AI, whatever, to just plain driven on running or run by freaking what am I trying to say? You know, a ton of spike proteins. I mean, obviously we've seen so many athletes dropping like flies and so many people, but it's all normal, right? I mean, this is it can get your blood boiling or clotting in their case, and just talking about it, right? Because people just don't want to. This is one of the reasons, the pandemic was one of the reasons I started my brand, the Truth, God, and Justice Chick brand, as I like to call it, because I just could not stand sitting on the sidelines, right? I wanted to share my thoughts and my opinions and help awake at least one person, right? I've done my job if I've at least helped or awakened one person. So here we are. And it's just so, you just try to like understand, even on a nice level, like you're trying to understand their thought process. The government tells you to take something, right? Or you're gonna get your cookie taken away, or your freaking allowance or whatever. And people jump in line, they rush to the line, to the end of the line. It's just, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, it is truly a remarkable characteristic or trait or whatever you want to call it, to be awake and red-pilled and to not be fooled by any kind of treats. I sacrificed seeing my family for years now, because for the longest time, I think now, or I think the last maybe at least 6 to 12 months, I think we could have if we were to visit Germany, my hometown, I think we were okay to do things without being jabbed, like doing anything or going to the movies, to the zoo. But I think like a couple years ago, or even a year and a half ago, or maybe even a year ago, you still had to show proof. So what's the point of visiting? I mean, okay, I guess we could have just hung out at, my family's home, at their house, but it's just, you're just different. It made people pretty much being categorized in two lines, so to speak, the lions and the sheep. And it showed, you found out real quick who's what, right? And sure, people will say, maybe comment on this episode, well, I had to take it from my job, which I know other people too that had to, so to speak. And I get that in a way. I want to be somewhat sympathetic or empathetic to that. But at the same time, no, you don't trade your DNA, your internal bloodstream and whatever, organs, whatever, body. You don't trade that for anything. Nothing is, it's just like when you get a donut, when you get a shot, and I saw, memes or pictures of people getting whatever, right? Not just donuts, but any kind of treat for being a good girl or a good boy and being obedient. So, yeah, it's a crazy time we're still living in. I mean, it's not, it slowed down for a little bit, but it's definitely not over yet, because it's gearing up again. We had a little low time, little low tide, a little, downtime with it, and then now it's starting over or continuing. I wonder, what do you think this new variant is going to be called? Maybe, well, we just had a hurricane named Hillary. Maybe the next one will be Obama or something. It'd be almost funny if it weren't so sad, right? But yeah, that's a big topic. I mean, big topic. It almost painful to watch people you love, or not watch them, like watch them from a distance, meaning overseas. Really, you could. I tried. I think a lot of us tried to save them, right, from ruining their own health, at least health, if not life. And it's just unreal. I tried to warn them, but you can only do so much, right? But now, after it's been years since they've even taken it, you do wonder, like, what things, their bodies, their health looks like internally, if they were, blessed enough to not have had any noticeable effects yet, which there have been quite a few people probably that can't really say they've been suffering from anything, which I believe that not in every single shot was, that poison. I think in some shots was like we heard saline or whatever, because if every single person would have gotten it, I mean, there would be definitely more suspicion, right? I don't know. It is quite crazy, but what's more crazy is literally people, and I think, quite honestly, I think my folks have not yet I don't think they have any suspicion to this day. I don't know, but it goes back, or it comes back to I feel like maybe it's, I don't know what it is. It almost seems like maybe, I don't want to say just Germany, but Europe. I think the media, or it's just, I feel like almost they don't see the stuff that we see in our news. And our news is crap most of the time, and and fake and all that. But I almost feel like the things that I try to warn them about isn't even like they've never heard of. Like, it's almost, I don't know if it comes back to the lack of freedom of speech and all that. I don't know if it's just even more controlled. I couldn't even tell you. It almost seems like that, because I'm like, you could have, you could be suffering from this and this and this now, or this, that the jab caused this and this and this, and they're like, and it's almost like, what? Like, you'd think it'd be obvious, or it's been in the news, but I don't think I think it's way different. Way different. Well, anyway, that was a crazy time that we all had to endure. Could you imagine if the lockdowns were coming back? Wow. I don't know. All you can do is do not comply. You don't comply, it doesn't affect you. And I can just hear the voices of people overseas be like, what, you have to do as you're told, pretty much. You have to if they tell you you have to do that, you have to wear that, or it's just this wow, we are not the same. That's all I can say is we are not the same. Wow, right? I mean, wow, yep. And that's obviously a huge topic as well, just like some of my other ones that are just, they just go on and on and on. Like, okay, so what's my next thing that I wanted to speak on? Because I haven't, obviously that was a big time in our lives, right? And probably life-changing for a lot of us. So it's definitely had to be at least brought up at least once, at least one episode about, you know. And yeah, I don't think that's over. I think it's gonna continue, because what's the end goal? Depopulation. Bingo. That is the end goal. And yeah. What was it? What was the number, the year? I forget. Was it 2025 or 20? No, must be later. I think sometime after that, it's supposed to turn into no, what was I don't know, there was something predicted, pretty much the end of the end of the world, pretty much. I forget, but anyway, depopulation obviously has been in effect. It has happened. I mean, I don't know, what's your guess how many souls have lost their lives due to the jab and stuff? And I'm not saying no one died from the actual COVID, but how many actually died of that virus versus the side effects of, wow, remdesivir. Wow, I haven't talked about those meds in a little bit. I just realized, I'm like, what were they called again? Yeah, all those side effects from those things. I remember I think we had it in like right now in August. I think, was it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. I think we had it, but we never tested. We never did one test. And I know if not everyone had, taken the shot, but I don't know anyone who's never tested. But I'm proud. I've never tested, never taken any test up my nose, because you don't know what was in those Q-tips, in those swab thingies. You don't know that. So no, nothing. We're not partaking in any of this clown show. Anyway, so I think we had it like 2 years ago. It felt like the flu, but my in-laws tested positive. Jeez. And yeah, so we just assumed we had it. And I heard about, here's this recipe to make like a homemade version of hydroxychloroquine. So I did that, boiled lemons and grapefruits and stuff, and it took a little bit, but it was fine. I mean, yeah. Thank God, my smell and everything. I don't think, well, I guess I was lucky. But yeah, don't think it's all over, folks. Gear up for another season, another batch to try to kill some of us, or a lot of us. Yeah. But only the strong ones, only the lions will survive this mess, I have a feeling. Because the sheep will, like I said, are probably making plans in their calendar for the next booster shot. So, yep, sad world. Really shows not just who's a sheep and who's a lion or a lioness, but it also shows just how easily manipulative, or how easily you can manipulate society. Yep, it's definitely just it's still mind-blowing to this day. I just can't even, like, it's as if it just happened. Anyway, so what else would be of importance to mention? Try to think. I don't go off script here, so sometimes you have some minutes like where I'm like just thinking out loud in a way, like just trying to gather my thoughts, because I like to be authentic. And as a side note, I like to say something like profound or say something like personal in like every episode, just so people know, okay, this is not a typical podcast. Obviously, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna be like, yes, I'm as professional as, I don't know, the show of Candace Owens, or, you know, Tim Casts or whatever his name is, or Matt Walsh or whoever. No, obviously not. It's a one-person show, so there's no production team behind me. What are you expecting? Come on. Just, you know, someone trying to bring the truth out and trying to be God's good little servant and messenger. And, you know, so a lot of things are just not rehearsed and not prepared, which, by the way, if you are German or European, that's something that's like a different language. Not being prepared, not being well rehearsed. That's like, it doesn't happen usually. So for me, like, just going with the flow and, you know, doing this is really off character for me. It's not like me. But I think it's good to push yourself out of your comfort zone here and there and just be like, you know what? I'm going to do things differently now. Because obviously things haven't always turned out very successful for me in the past. So I'm like pushing myself out of my comfort zone and see where this goes, right? Yeah. So not really having much to do with our topic of the day, but you know, I mean, obviously I'm in my Sunday best. And anyway, back to the topic, the serious topic. Jeez. Yeah, so forgot to mention probably a whole bunch. That's usually when I say this is part 1, because I know there's more I want to say. But anyway, if in case you haven't heard anything yet, things are getting serious again in the Department of Brain Manipulation and pushing another variant on you. Do not, if you haven't yet, please do not get persuaded and give in and give up your God-given DNA. Please don't. That is literally, if you've gotten it, I'm sorry, but you're carrying the mark of the beast. That's literally it. You're not gonna get, you can ask for forgiveness, you can repent, but you've pretty much sold your soul to the devil in a different way or form. But yes. And in your ignorance, all you wanted to do was just save your life and save your life from this deadly virus. And I know. But there's not much you can do now. You can try to detoxify in a way. You know, you might be able to eliminate a tiny bit of that, a trace of it maybe, but I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, it's like a movie. To the awakened, the red pill people, the lions and lionesses are definitely feeling like in a twilight zone, like they are part of a movie. Maybe not so much lately. Well, yeah. Different, maybe not so much the pandemic, but obviously more in politics. But it's just a crazy world isn't cutting it. It's a satanic world on every level. And if you're not on top of it, like if you're not like quick to figure this out, you get sucked into their mess, into their narrative, into their agenda. And you play along. And once you're in it, it's hard to get out. Yeah. So I feel very privileged, very blessed to have the discernment and this God-given wisdom, I guess, to be able to, see the truth. It's literally a gift from God. And I know there are tons of you out there that feel similarly, hopefully. And yeah, I think that should do it for today, at least for part 1. There's many more parts to come, and yeah. What else is there to say for today? I mean, the dear pandemic. Yeah. The damage it has done is just, I feel bad. I feel really bad for the kids. And just as a like to end the show, this episode on, once, I forget when the shot was coming out or being available for the kids, that's when I became just a full mode mama bear. Like that's where I drew the line. That's where I was like, no, I don't think so. If you have given this poison to your kids, you are literally unfit to be a parent. You are. You meant well, but how can you give an experimental drug, poison, to your baby? I've unfriended people that I just roughly knew when I saw that they were giving it to their kid. Oh, I was like, no, we are not the same. We are not even close. We are like opposites. And I don't need that. I was like, I can't watch you, because if you're going to post that your kid is, severely sick or even dead, oh no. I want nothing to do with you. So if you've given the shot to your kid, there's no mercy. You'd have to go on your knees and ask for forgiveness to God. That's up to him, but for myself, no. And that goes for all vaccines now. As a side note, no more. No more anything. I feel horrible for even letting my kids get injected with any type of typical childhood immunization. For my son, I guess, up until, I don't know, my oldest son, I don't know, was he 8 or so for his last shot? I forget, but I know I feel really bad about it, because that it took this pandemic to finally wake some of us up. I know there have been kudos to the parents that I've always seen through. I blame it on my German genes, my German upbringing, that I didn't see it sooner. And my youngest son, I stopped at, when was the last time? I think 2 or 3, I guess, that he had a shot. Even flu shots. I'm like, why? Why was I so stupid? Just if you'd see the metals and the aborted fetal cells and all the mercury and everything in them, once you see the ingredient list, I'm sure there are still people who will continue with this, with the so-called childhood immunizations, but not this chick. Once you see that, you don't continue. No child, no person, no child of God needs anything like that to live and thrive. What do you think autism, allergies, childhood illnesses, cancers come from? You know? But no doctor would make the, connection. Very few. Sad. Okay. I should end this episode on that note, because otherwise it'll be like an hour-long episode, and I know we're all really busy, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram mainly under Truth, God, and Justice Chick. You can find me on Twitter, Truth Social. What else? On the podcast avenues or apps, Podbean, on SoundCloud, Spotify. You can find me on my website, www.truthgodjusticechick.com. And I thank you guys for tuning in. That's what I meant to say. And thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah. Until next time for some more controversy. Thank you guys. Signing off.